Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the long, leisurely Labor Day weekend, but starting Tuesday, man, we got right into it. So, let's get into everything and break it down. But first, I would like to say that September is Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. And as a parent of a child in this condition, I want to put the word out there, spread it far and wide to bring a little bit of knowledge. Hopefully, research, but we need funding for research for this disease. So, Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, September. If there's anyone that you may know, a loved one, a friend that has this condition, you know what I'm talking about, and we can anything that we can do to make their lives a little bit easier. We're willing to do anything it takes. So let's get out there. And Billy Joel was actually recently diagnosed with this disease. We talked about it several weeks ago. He had to cancel a 17-city tour because he was diagnosed with hydrocephalus. Normal pressure hydrocephalus. There are various forms of hydrocephalus, but his was normal pressure. But anything we can do to bring research and funding, please, please. Hydrocephalus Association, any work that you do, I'm here to help you and support you in any way. I'm not affiliated with the Hydrocephalus Association. I have done a lot of volunteer work, and of course, I always try and raise money for them, but they are a fantastic organization. And if you have any questions, please go to them or a reputable source to do your research on hydrocephalus. But let's bring attention and to our loved ones that deal with it every day. So there we go. Hydrocephalus Awareness Month, September. This girl's here for you. Now, speaking of funding and research, medical research, today we're going to get right into politics because it happened so fast this weekend. First of all, today, Capitol Hill, RFK Jr. speaking on the Hill. There is a mass exodus at the CDC. It is an upset. You could call it mutiny or a revolt, if you will. But people are leaving, being fired, are feeling pressured and leaving their positions. So, mega changes are happening, especially when it comes to vaccines. The rules are changing. They're trying to get this new group together to make these decisions, and he wants a new panel. So a lot of changes are happening very quickly. I can't, especially when it comes to the world of vaccines, I cannot imagine what pediatricians are thinking right now. They must be kind of spiraling because whatever the regulations start changing, and then insurance doesn't want to cover certain vaccines. And as a parent with somebody who has major medical issues for their child, this is a concern for me and so many other families that have children that have compromised immune systems or major medical issues where they need extra care or sometimes additional vaccinations, and all those, and anybody else in those categories that have compromised immune systems and major medical issues. These things may or may not affect how insurance covers it or covers it at all. So these decisions that could be coming down the pike here with the CDCs and new regulations, there can be heavy consequences for many. So I will be watching closely. I started to watch RFK speak today on the Hill right before I started filming this show. And whoa, just like minutes into it, it was heated. There was a lot of tension. RFK immediately spoke about the changes that are happening at the CD, what his intentions are to do with the CDC, and the health system in general. I was shocked that he wasn't a little bit more prepared with some of his answers. And this was only a few minutes that I was only able to watch, only a few minutes. I mean, of course, someone, certain sides of the party were complimentary to the changes. And I do believe, in my opinion, and dealing with all ends of the medical field, not as a medical professional, as a, a normal person that has to deal with insurance in the medical world constantly. Yeah, there needs to be a lot of changes. But how it's happening, the way they're unfolding these changes. And the only image I can think of is the image of Elon Musk with that chainsaw. Yes, you want to make changes? Great. But these things take time. There should be a process to make these changes. This manner of how they're going to just change it all quickly, and haphazardly, in my opinion, can have extreme consequences. Look, we've already are seeing the consequences that happen with the immediate cancellation of AID and other things, with the new changes that are going to start coming soon with this big, beautiful bill. I think it's going to, my personal opinion, it's going to affect many in healthcare. I am nervous about it, how it's going to affect a lot of people for my family and others in my sphere, and just everybody in general. It is a worrisome matter. We all want to get healthy. We all want to do better, but yes, changes have to happen in the system. But whoa, something, I don't like it. And I hear the pushback. I understand the pushback. I get it. But keep your eyes open. We just had the shooting at the CDC a couple weeks ago. Like, it's just chaos and it's crazy. So I will be watching this whole Speak on the Hill, on the our RFK Speaking on the Hill today after we finish this podcast, because I want to know what goes down. What said, I'm sure it's definitely going to be entertaining to watch, because people are pissed. This is the healthcare. People are furious. And when you see town halls where representatives are going to their constituents, in town halls where people in the community are expressing their concerns, what is happening? Wow, it is. I don't want to say heated. I don't want to say it's contentious. Like, it's a hair stone away from a brawl. People are screaming and upset. Many people are being escorted or thrown out by security. So, emotions are high. And when it comes to your health, it absolutely should be. These are our loved ones. So pay attention, everybody. This is why it is so important to know who you are voting for and who is fighting for you. Very, very important. And not only that, when it comes to funding and research, we have that with the CDC. And speaking of funding, well, remember the whole funding that Trump wanted to cut from Harvard? Well, a judge just blocked it, saying you cannot freeze that money. So the legal battle continues there. But one judge just blocked it and said, no, you can't freeze that money. You can't. So let's see what goes. But a lot of that funding went to medical research, and a lot of the medical research comes from our university. I know one of the rare medical issues that my child has, that research came out of a university. And if it weren't for that research, we would have no answers. So I cannot express the importance of the funding and research for these universities. Yes, you can say some of this funding is frivolous, but some of this funding really propels medical research and can help fuel cures in the future, especially with cancer research. Just what do we do? I don't understand why it seems like such an attack on the medical field, in science in general. It's very upsetting. That's my personal opinion, but it feels like an attack. Yes, you can question some of the science and you can question your doctor. That's why that's why we encourage second opinions. Sure, you can disagree, but wow. This is a remarkable thing, and not in a good way. I am absolutely flabbergasted of what's happening politically. And then when we talk about funding and how these cuts that are coming down with Medicaid, Medicare, and just all these changes that are happening within the medical universe. Well, we also have about people losing jobs and the economy being tough for many. As we're talking about money, well, crypto's doing quite well. Have you seen the articles that are coming about the Trump family and their crypto money? Well, they just made a deal where they just made billions with a B this past week. Right now, it is in the Trump family. Trump has denied that he has any involvement. It is in a trust with his family, but wow. The money that is flowing in from this crypto, and let's not forget that there has been recent changes, the Genius Act, where now we're trying to protect cryptocurrency in the digital money. It is, to me, this makes me very, very nervous. This is all my opinion right now. I'm going to go off on a little rant. Crypto, some love it. Some still find it a little kind of uncertain, a little sketchy. A lot of people love it. Some have made a lot of money on it. Some have lost a lot of money on it. It's too uncertain. And now to financially back that with government money. Like, does anybody not remember the financial crash of 2008, how we had to bail out major banks? I'm still a little bit upset about it. Okay. And everybody should. We, the American taxpayer, had to bail out big banks for all their misdeeds and mishandling of monies and how it tanked the U.S. economy, and we bailed them out. So now, if the banks can't get it right, and let's just go through history, there are bailouts all the time, and it happens in cycles. And the last one was 08, and a lot of times this happens in 20-year cycles, sometimes in history. We're coming up on that cycle, and this is all my opinion, and I am nervous that we are in that direction, and if that could happen again, and we have to deal out crypto digital money where we don't even know where it's coming from, it's not traceable. That's why so many people and criminals love crypto. It's not traceable. So that alone is a concern. And it's an interesting thing that during the first term of the Trump presidency, he was not into crypto. He thought it was a little sketchy. But now that he has crypto and now these tokens, the family is doing very well. They are rolling in, which is very interesting. If we roll back several years ago, the political debate and why so many people in the MAGA party were so against Hunter Biden because he was using his influence to make money. Does this sound a little too close to you? Right? Interesting. But for the government to back that, so if anything, a major crisis happens and we might have to bail that out, that is where I have a problem with. So take the time, go back, Google the Genius Act that just went through several weeks ago. But it's just interesting, this surge in crypto, these tokens. Gavin Newsom's kind of taking a page and the Trump thing. He's doing the AI generated images. He's now doing the token as well. Now it's kind of a spoof. But if he makes money off of it, I hope that that money goes for a good cause. Donate it. Please donate it. I don't want that to come back and bite you and to use it against you later on, because I know you've got a presidential run coming in your future. There is no doubt about it. So just make sure that money is clearly separated and it goes for a great cause. Donate it to healthcare. Build a children's hospital if you make enough money. Do something to help out. Give it back to the state of California that gives so much to you. I don't know. It is kind of funny to see some of the images, though. I have to laugh. But so then there's that. All right. We just came back from the weekend. It's like coming back from break in the middle of filming a show and action. We're back. I mean, and so yesterday we got RFK speaking. And then we have the whole crypto thing. Now, so they get back on Tuesday and boom, back to the Epstein. It is back on. And yesterday, victims of Epstein spoke right there on Capitol Hill. They wanted to get their voice out. Please release the files. Please release the files. There were attorneys there. It was really kind of a press spectacle. The women that were there as a united front, it was a powerful moment. These women said, look, we have lived in fear, for some of them for decades, and we have now found our voice. Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who just passed away several weeks ago, they were like, she was an inspiration. She was the loudest voice, the strongest fighter in this battle. She moved this thing forward in a way that nobody else could have. And if it were not for her strength, we would not have had the strength to come forward, because we have faced threats. We have faced, this is what these victims were saying, and multiple women spoke individually in front of this entire press conference. Some were like, we have been followed. We have been various ways that we have been stalked or harassed. And, you know, and behind this fear, we still believe that this will continue, but no matter what, we will be strong and we are going to get this out. They're keeping the momentum going. And the one woman said, look, I don't want to keep this one victim. And she said, but I'm a registered Republican, not that I'm trying to make this political, but I want you to know, because this has been said in the media, that this is a hoax. This is not a hoax. We are real victims. And there's a lot of victims. And you can see the ones just there that were present on the Hill yesterday. Think of the ones that are behind the scenes, that wanted to remain anonymous, that still deal with this trauma in silence. And, you know, maybe they don't want to put their face forward, but maybe they can put their name forward in more investigations, however it may come out. But the one attorney said very clearly, and I'm glad that this was that this was clarified, because the files, or it's the list, release the list. He's like, this is not a list. There's not a list of names. If that's what you're looking for, that we're not going to find that. There's no list. Let me make that clear, because if you keep saying a list and they actually don't produce like a list, like a to-do list, but with names, then they're going to say it's a host. So let me make it clear. This is not a list. This is a network of people that helped, enabled, propped up, and others who engaged in this network, others who benefited from this network. It is a network, and those people, those names are the names that you should investigate. And the women, of course, some of the people were like, some of the journalists were asking, well, anybody on the list, name on this? Well, somebody actually, one of the victims named somebody straight out. And I was like, oh, okay. Wow. They said name someone, and she did. And so everybody else, like the lawyers were like, you could see the one female attorney in the back and like, don't answer that, don't answer. Thank God. And and this was a group of attorneys and like, don't answer that, don't answer that, don't answer. The attorney behind the male attorney, she looked kind of badass. I liked her. She's like, don't answer that, don't answer that. Let me clarify that. Good on you. And this one victim said in an interview later on that day, because of course, after all these victims spoke, there were multiple interviews and they were just pleading to Congress, please, please pass this bill to release more information so this information get out there so we can do more investigations. There has been a lot of things that have been, sealed and kind of covered up in this file, so you need to release it. Whatever ripples might come out of this needs to happen because there's a lot of victims and justice needs to happen for these victims. And to the women, what a moment of just unity and strength. You could hear the pain in these women that were speaking in front of the journalists. To see the women that were holding their speeches, and it was just shaking. Just to relive that emotion and pain over and over again. And they're like, we are willing to do it again to have justice, not just for us, but for all. Some of the journalists were just very, very respectful. One guy, I don't know who you were with, quite the reaction from the victim. We're not going to answer that. And he was just badgering them. One right after the other, like, leave him alone. A couple of the women were thrown out. When you have Marjorie Taylor Greene up there defending these women, and you know what? I never agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene at all. But she's like, these women need to be heard. They're victims and justice needs to be served for the victims. Okay. Go Marjorie. Like, she was out like an attack dog for these women. Great. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, I wish you would take this approach to benefit women more often. Really, I'm this is no strike. I'm trying to give you a compliment. But with all this change, I'm talking about like healthcare and women's reproductive rights. Stand strong with women, Marjorie. This is your moment, girl. Take your moment. And I was very happy to see you stranding with them, and as you should. It was a moment. And then they're like, this is what we need. Please pass it forward. These women had a very powerful speech. And then like moments later, like literally minutes later, that news conference ends, a new one comes on, breaking news. President Trump is speaking, and he immediately goes into attack mode on these women, calls it a Democratic hoax. It's a political hoax. It's motivated by the Democrats. I'm paraphrasing. Even I was watching that just absolutely flabbergasted. I'm like, I Carolyn Levitt, as a woman, you need to kind of polish this one extremely delicately. Seriously. You can come off harsh and aggressive most of the time. You are a woman. These are many, many, many women asking to be heard. You must handle this delicately. I'm telling you, this is a political optic nightmare. And there needs to be some major cleanup. I could not believe Trump said that. Let's not forget several weeks ago when the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing was happening before Congress went on break and they couldn't pass the bill through. Remember, he said that his friendship dissolved with Jeffrey Epstein because he found out he was taking women from the spa. So, there was some weird stuff happening there. So if you believe that and you broke off your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein and wouldn't allow him to come back to Mar-a-Lago because there was something weird or potentially viewed as nefarious, and again, optic nightmare. That's all I'm saying. And it's not going away. I said it months ago. Is this going to be the scandal that taints or takes down this administration? I don't know. And we have all that going on here in the White House, in the nation's capital. It's been battle after battle, especially between the parties. Well, let's go to the world stage. Yesterday in China, well, there was quite a meeting. Talk about optics. You had 3 major world leaders that met. You have Putin of Russia, you have Xi of China, and you have Kim of North Korea. All met together in China, had a meeting, attended a military parade, and I gotta tell you, they know how to do a military parade. That thing was quite something. If you're listening to Hegseth, that's kind of how you do a military parade. That was on a whole other scale. As those 3 meet, what a sign of a strengthening chain of power. Trump, of course, released a statement on social media, and he said it was basically an act of conspiring against the U.S. For Trump, who just met with Putin in Alaska next month, he said if he doesn't do something soon or do a ceasefire, there's going to be some consequences. Well, yesterday, not a good look. So are the consequences going to happen? Because the bombing's not stopping in Ukraine. They've had a few days of very intense bombing. And if that's moving forward, what are the consequences going to be from you? And if there are consequences, I don't know, sanctions, tariffs, whatever they may be, could there be any retaliatory reaction? So I guess we'll see. But what we do know for sure is that those deadlines have expired. So where are we going to go from there? So the waters are very murky right now, and the tensions are high in the geopolitical stage. There have been a lot of people coming to the White House to talk. We need to handle this with a little bit of compassion and understanding and planning. There just doesn't seem like, this is where I get very uncertain, and this is where I'm going to tie it all together, like RFK, a lot of the decisions that are making in every department of this administration. It's happening so fast. There's no plan. It just is so clear there's no plan. And what are the consequences going to be, a year, several years, a decade from now, from just reacting and pushing something through without a researched plan? And where are we going to go? It's very scary. So the battles are happening. We're getting right into it. And let's see where we go. But I got to tell you, some of this stuff has been a head scratcher. I feel like I'm not only clutching my pearls, I'm holding my chest. I'm just like, what is going on? So I guess I can understand why everybody's so anxious and right now. So if everybody's on antidepressants, we got to be able to afford, medical insurance, medication. I need to breathe. Like I said, I will be watching this whole RFK on the Hill later. Absolutely. I need to know. And so do you. And I'm going to bring it to you. Don't worry. So, but as we're talking of battles, let's get into something not political, and let's get into our world of television. So as we just had a large travel weekend. Labor Day weekend here in the US is one of the busiest travel weekends of the year. Were you able to watch Chief of War on Apple TV Plus with Jason Momoa? I'm telling you, if you haven't watched it, it is an excellent show. I enjoy every episode. I make sure I have nothing to do, block out all sound and quiet. So it's a late night watch for me, or a very early morning watch. Because there are still a lot of subtitles. If you have a hard time with subtitles, it might be a hard watch for you, but it is such a great show. The historical elements to it, the set, the design, the clothing, the every aspect of it, the language, just so good. I cannot imagine. I don't know how long it took to prepare for the show. I can't even imagine. With every department, history, language, this, that. Such a great show. I am learning so much about it. And I just want to add, the actors in this show are huge. And I'm saying this in a complimentary way, like Herculean huge. They are shredded, muscular. They are just ripped. They are beautiful. They are tall, muscular. I said many weeks ago, I think when Da Vinci designed anatomical man, that we use in modern medicine, he must have been envisioning Jason Momoa, or maybe one of the men on the show. These men are just perfect specimens of the human body, I must say. And you see it all because they're literally walking around in loincloths. So you see everything, but they are just muscular, carrying lava rocks around. And it's just a great show. And the women in the show, badass warriors. You see them in battle scenes. They are just awesome. So it's great to see women in history on even keel as men, especially when it comes to battles. Somebody got to fight, and women, we can be savage. So yeah, don't mess with us. So great show. I love it. Apple TV Plus, Chief of War, Jason, go watch it if you haven't. And as we're talking about beautiful backdrops like a Chief of War in Hawaii, let's get over to our world of Bravo. The women in Miami, the Real Housewives of Miami, this past, still in Seville. They also went to Marbella. The fight is still happening about the private jet. Please get off the PJ. I am sick about hearing the PJ. Marisol and Alexia didn't go to Marbella. They avoided the private jet trip because they were just like, if I had to hear about that private jet one more time, I was going to lose my mind. I agree with Alexia and I agree with Marisol. I am so sick about hearing about that private jet, but it's a nice jet. But they went to Marbella and they had that whole White Lotus experience. And when Gertie said, this is some White Lotus shit, and I approve, I'm like, me too. I want to be there. That looks amazing. I want to be a part of that. That looks awesome. It was beautiful. I loved every moment of it. Lisa cannot handle her liquor. And when Larsa was like, can somebody please do that call scene that they do at the wars where they start playing the music to escort her out. Can we do that? When she was doing those toast after toast after toast, and Kiki was like, how many toasts did we do today? Yeah, she was a little sloppy, but entertaining. Marbella was absolutely beautiful. It was gorgeous, and it was as White Lotus as it came. It was fabulous. It really was. But at the end of the episode, when they were wearing the flamenca dresses and they went to the town square in Spain and Seville, it was so beautiful. The scene, as they're singing happy birthday to Stephanie and having this really special moment, it was kind of a big moment for Housewives. Like they had this square closed off, and you had tourist people like sitting there shooting video. The Housewives of Miami, and they're pulling in on these carriages, and there's this private band playing. It was really something. And Stephanie, instead of taking this moment in and just and being in the moment with these girls, no, she's FaceTiming her husband. Look, babe, look what I was so grossed out in the moment. Like, can you just film it and show him and send it to him? Like, just enjoy the moment, how she is with her husband. Like, I need him. I want him. I love him. First of all, you can tell you guys just, you haven't married that long, but it's over the top. It's over the top. But that whole scene was so beautiful. And boom, they go right into it again. Stephanie and Alexis start fighting over the jet. I am so sick about hearing about this jet. And when Alexis is like, you try to control everything, you know, that's what you do. And that's part of the problem. I'm like, well, yeah, she is right about that. Alexis is right about that. You are trying to control everything. And I love it. And congratulations, girls. You got an after show. And even I watched a moment of it the other day, and the one director was like, congratulations, girls, you made it. And so, yes, you made it. I thoroughly enjoy Miami. I'm glad you got your after shows. That means you've earned it. Still pissed that Adriana is not considered a full-time housewife. She needs to have one. I don't like it that when they do the screen, when they show the pictures of the cast, she's not in it. I don't like that. I am team Adriana all the way. She's messy. She's funny. She mixes up her words. You must have her. She's an absolute pillar of the show. She does prop up the show with a lot of the drama. So yeah, love her. And team Adriana all the way. And I like Alexis too and Marisol, even though they drive me crazy, those two. I love it. They are old school. They are the OG. You got to bring it. And I don't like how you're still going after Lisa, Stephanie. I don't like it. And what happens at the reunion? Something happened. She left this kind of cryptic message on social media that something different happened on the reunion. So I guess we'll find out in the next several weeks. But Seville was a great trip. And as we continue our housewives, today, ladies and gentlemen, yes, tonight is the day, tonight is the night, are dropping the new seasons of Salt Lake City. Peacock, when Salt Lake City pops up, they have like a little a trailer for the new season. You see a trip to Greece coming up this season. Whitney's rocking some red hair. The fights continue. I do love Angie K. She's going after Lisa Barlow. Still love it. So, and action. It still goes on. We also have coming down the pike in the world of Bravo. We're going to have the Valley, Persian style. Remember our old friends from the Shahs of Sunset? We have MJ, Reza. They'll be on there. Who else will be joining them on that? I like Shahs, actually. So the people that know how to show up for an assignment with work to start the fight, those two, they'll be on it. We're going to have the reboot of Vanderpump Rules. Hopefully it'll be better than the reboot of New York, my opinion, of The Real Housewives of New York. I did not like that one. And is it going to be better than Real Housewives of Jersey reboot? Because something's happening there. We shall see. But this week, guys, we're back. TV is coming back. The shows are coming to a new season. Fall is here. And we'll be back with a new season as well. But that is it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us on Pollywine. Please follow us on Instagram at PollyWineTime. And please listen to Pollywine wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks so much and have a great day. See you soon. Bye.